So 2 months ago, Zeiss had sent over their Zeiss Batis 25mm f2 to me, so I had used them in a couple of shoots, and here's my final review and the first impressions of the lens. Let's get started. What is up people, this is Simon Rajan here and welcome back to my channel once again. In this video we are going to be looking at my first impressions on the Zeiss Batis 25mm f2 lens. So this lens is like the perfect run and gun equipment. So if you are someone who goes run and gun all the time, so I think then the 25mm f2 is like one of the most versatile lens, wide range of applications. You can just use it for all your cinematography, the astrophotography, street photography, portraits, name whatever it is. This focal length, this 25mm f2 lens is like, it has a wide range of applications. You can just apply it to whatever kind of art you're trying to create. A huge thanks to Team Zeiss for having sent me the lens, because this is like my very first product video, and the very first product premium product review it's really a great feeling, and it obviously adds up a lot to my channel as well. Talking about this lens, let us just begin with the exterior and the build quality. The build quality of this lens, no exception, like any other Zeiss Batis lenses out there for the Alpha series, this one is also perfectly built. You have the whole lens built in metal, I guess, and with a little touch of a soft focus ring, which not everyone would really like. So most of us come from focus rings that are a little hard and more grippy than this, so it kind of takes a few hours and few shoots to get used to that. So apart from that, the lens is very minimal. It's very minimal in design. There's no switches, there is no autofocus or MF switches or image stabilization for that matter. Yeah, no image stabilization in the lens. That's like one of the downside of the lens, I guess. And then of course there is this exceptionally followed trademark, the OLED screen. There is a small OLED screen on the lens which helps you look at the focus range. This is like very useful for those who are shooting in low light conditions such as Astro and Milky Way shooters. They can just set the focus right from 0 to infinity within just a look at the LED indicator. The whole lens is a premium package. You can just tell it from the look and feel of the product. Talking about the weight, this thing weighs somewhere around 335 grams, which is pretty light. So comparing it with the Sigma 16mm f1.4 that I own, which is weighing around 400 grams, this is like a little lighter in comparison. It's just a rough comparison of the sizes. That's it. Okay, so talking about the functionality of this lens, AF is very fast with the Alpha systems, and not to mention the focus motors are almost dead silent. You cannot hear a little bit of movement or nothing at all from the lens. So far from my usage, I have not noticed, or there has not been much of a noticeable noise from the autofocus motors as they are functioning. One downside of this lens functionality wise is that it doesn't have image stabilization inside, no built-in OSs or anything. Totally depends on your hands, and obviously if you have an external gimbal or a stabilizer, then you're all good to go with this. I really had a fun time shooting this lens with my APS-C. I had put it on my A6400. Of course this is a full frame lens, but still I just tried it on my A6400, and A6400 we get a focal length of around 37.5 mm to be exact, because the crop factor is 1.5. This 35 mm focal length was something new for me, and it was very convenient. It was like not too close or not too wide. It's like a proper focal length for all your run and gun situation, just like how I mentioned earlier. Talking about the picture quality of this lens, Zeiss being one of the best lens makers, one of the best optic providers out there in the whole world, no compromise in this as well. The Zeiss Batis lens is known for its best optics included into the casing. Pictures are pretty sharp, and there's a nice shallow depth of field at f2, and I've been using this in my previous two shoots, which is the Idumban shoot as well as the GS1250 delivery shoots as well. So you could tell it from that itself like how good the lens has performed both in terms of photos as well as the videos. However, I observed a little amount of color infringement in some images only, but obviously you can just fix it up in the post. So it shouldn't be a big issue. Talking about the wide angle distortion, there isn't much of a distortion like the distortion I observe in my 16mm. And the local distortion is 25mm. It's just apt, and obviously on the lens profile correction port, you can just correct it off in post. In terms of video also, the lens just performs outstanding, and I think this is like the most versatile focal length, like I mentioned before. Somewhere between 24mm to 50mm is my zone of filmmaking, so I think this lens is like one of the best. So here is my final verdict about the lens. Should we really go for it? The only downside that I see with this lens is the price, of course, and for the price you're paying, I really wish that they had included the AF/MF switch, so that you will be able to toggle between autofocus and manual focus without having to go into the camera interface and then turn it off, without getting yourself frustrated that way. As well as if they had included image stabilization, it would have been a good deal. If you are looking to buy a good prime lens for your full frame camera somewhere around 25 to 35mm, then I think going for the Zeiss Batis lenses is like one of the best options that you must consider. So that's it for this video, guys. I really hope that you guys found it useful. Make sure you like, share and subscribe. Stay tuned for more updates. See you then.